Inside the Birds is back. What's going on, everyone? Geoff, Mosher, Adam Caplan here for Inside the Birds. Play the taps, my friend, because the season for the Eagles is over. And it was not a pretty ending. The Eagles lose 31-15 in the wild card round to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, the second-seeded Buccaneers. And it's an interesting game. We'll get through a lot. We'll go through the offense, defense, and then here's the thing about this podcast, and Adam, I know you'll co-sign on it. As we are with everything, we're not going to sit there and fire every single individual and go crazy, and we're not going to sit there and tell you everything is great, grand, and wonderful, or that it's terrible. And we're going to be in the middle. And then look, we'll have the tape review will tell us a lot more. And so make sure you catch the Wednesday podcast, 6 a.m. On the inside, because we'll be able to give you a lot of the why. Today, we'll talk about how things just broke down. On Wednesday, you'll find out why things broke down. But Adam, what we can do, as we usually do on the post-mortems, I like to say, is kind of take the big picture result of it all. And I'll start with you. Without the benefit of the tape, just watching, I just want to give you the credit, because on the pregame show, we all said we thought it was going to be a competitive game. And you said, yeah, and your but was, if they get off to a slow start,
they're done.
There's no coming back from it. And you hit it right on the head.
Yeah, they had no chance, because I knew Hurts is not good enough to bring them back. He's just not an accomplished passer. As much as I like the kid, I do root for him. I'll tell you the truth. I've heard enough about him inside the building. I want him to do well. Not that I care what the Eagles do. Mm-hmm. I'm not a fan, but he's such a great kid. I want him to do well. And it just, I've covered this business for 21 years. I have access to a lot of information like you do, and I kind of knew that he's got such a long way to go as a passer.
Yeah.
This worried me. This is the moment was too big for him. The college football, I kind of laugh, like people are saying, oh, he played at Alabama. Like, that has anything to do with it. It's just the pros, man. Avon had some great, by the way. Jason gave some outstanding stuff on the pregame show. You need to hear him talk about what it's like to be ready for the playoffs. How to prepare and what it's like and the moment. Jason was so good, as obviously Greg Cosell was, but the two of them together were money. And my thing was, I as much as I'm going to get into Sirianni, because it'd be easy to bury him. He had his worst game as a play caller, and clearly the team was not ready to play. Mm-hmm. But it was one of these situations. I felt like, to summarize what you brought up, I felt like if they got behind early, they were in trouble, because Hurts is not there yet as a passer. It's not.
Right.
It was going to take something Herculean for them to come back, because they had it too easy with that second half schedule. It was in the back of my mind, and that's why I said what I said. I'll tell you the truth. That's why I said what I said. They were not tested. The second Giants game, sure. I know they're a bad team, but he did bring them back in the second half. That was a positive sign against a bad team.
Yeah.
But this was too good of a defense. I just didn't trust him as a passer. He's not there yet. He may be someday if he's Eagles quarterback. Now, we may have our doubts now. You asked a great question, and I was hoping it didn't. I was hoping this would not happen. But Geoff, if you missed it, Geoff did ask, and it was really prescient. What happens if Hurts does not play well today? Are you going to change your opinion? Because it's only one game, as you set it up very well. And on Sunday, you asked it in the pregame, and I'm like, well, depends how bad it is. Well, it was bad. It was bad.
It was bad.
Yeah, the warts came out. And let me move on from Hurts, because it's the only game this season, and folks may disagree. Everything was bad. Punting was terrible. Got better later in the game. He's been on a bad roll lately. Kicker's fine. But offensive line had warts, had leakage. The quarterback had a poor game. Receivers, poor game. Tight end, made some good plays, had another bad drop. Right through his hands. When the quarterback throws you the football, catch the football. The defense tried. They were undermanned. That's when we found out Sweat was out, and thank God he's going to be okay physically, based on the information the Eagles put out. We found out, folks, if you didn't see it, we found out live. Geoff read the the statement from the Eagles on Josh Sweat. Thank goodness he's going to be okay. Yeah. But I have no idea if that hurt them emotionally. But everyone had a piece. Just to finish off our open here, the way I summarize this game, everybody had a piece. This is the worst game by far they played collectively this season. Just happened to be the playoff game.
So that kind of parlays into my big picture takeaway, Adam. The fact that this was a very bad game from top to bottom, and many individuals are involved. And this was the tone of the column that I wrote after the game up on InsideTheBirds.com.
Very fair, by the way.
It's
very fair.
It's pretty clear now that despite that second half success, that the Eagles are far from being where they want to be, and also, and we knew that this was a transition year, but the level, the caliber of team that the Eagles are compared to the Bucs, you could say, oh no, all these bad things happened. You know, the muff punts, the punter all of a sudden can't play, the drop passes, the interceptions, and say it was like a bad game like the Giants. Or you could say, no, every time they've played a team that is good or in the playoffs, and that's about 6 times, right? They've played a team that's in the playoffs. They haven't even they've showed you that they don't belong on the field, and that was the case. They're not where those other teams in the playoffs are. And that's fine, because this was sort of a season that they weren't supposed to be. But that parlays into my second point. You want to make sure you get to that level. So you cannot treat this offseason like you were a team that won 7 out of your last 10 games. Okay. You've got to treat this offseason. You got to avoid being Washington and Chicago of last year, made the playoffs, had terrible years this year.
Well said.
You've got to make sure you examine everything from top to bottom. Of course, the quarterback, of course, the offensive and defensive line, of course, the linebackers and safeties. Some of that you're going to find right away you're good at, right? Other areas you're going to see we could not measure up to the playoff teams in this area. I mean, Tampa Bay is faster, they're stronger, they're technically sound, they don't shank punts, they don't muff punts, they can stop a quarterback when he tried to run on him, as they did against Jalen Hurts, which is a lot better than they did against Josh Allen. They could stop the regular running game, they did that well. They catch the ball for the most part when it's thrown to them. They did have a few drops, I know, but those are also guys getting mixed in and out. They just do things, and not just them, but so do, the Packers, and so do the Niners and the Cowboys, even though the Cowboys lost, right? They got a lot of work to do, is my point. And they really need to treat the offseason like they are a team that's far from their goal. Not close, far from their goal. Because if you take that level of thinking into it, you're always going to be like, we need to get better. We need to get better here. And you take nothing for granted, right? So that's my 2 cents on the Eagles. And it'll be a very fascinating offseason. Go ahead.
Can I just add something? I don't get the feeling that they're not aware of all the warts. The warts all came out today or Sunday, okay? Quarterback is not there as a passer. We all knew this, okay? Jason and Greg outlined this beautifully for us. We don't need a guess on this. This is exactly what they'd seen. Jason's been saying it, and he loves Jalen as a person. But Avant's able to call it down the middle, and I really appreciate that. And Cosell, Greg actually said on the show, as much as he's been critical of him, he says, you know what, I got to be honest with you, I think he's improved this season.
Mm-hmm. He also thinks he's coming back next year.
Yeah, Greg's not reporting it. He's not a reporter. Yeah. He just thinks that when you look at this draft, because Greg's already on the draft class, and you and I are too. We're also on the free agency. Wait till you have. I already put my. We're not doing free agency right now. We're going to do it soon. And I don't even know what we're doing. We know, as you said, we know what we're doing on our Wednesday shows or tape review. Wednesday, I don't know what we're doing for Friday, because wait till you hear how many teams need a quarterback. That's going to play in Hurts' favor to be the quarterback next year. There's just too many teams. I mean, folks, you won't believe, easily 10. Easily don't know who the quarterback's going to be. There might be up to 14.
Yeah.
If certain things happen. So, yeah, Hurts could be the quarterback. But it's to the point now, I think the Eagles know that they've got a lot of warts. Or the more than we thought coming into the game. They knew what they were. Okay? They knew what they were. Unfortunately, Herbig wasn't unavailable. That certainly hurt them. There's no doubt. We'll find out how Suapeta played. There was some leakage, no doubt, on their offensive line. The receiver thing is an absolute disaster, and also the scheme was awful in that game. I got to tell you, I'm not absolving Hurts, folks. Our message board, they want Hurts. They want Rager cut yesterday. I get it. Hurts. It's funny. Some of the same people who are backing Hurts, I went back and checked. I had 20 minutes to kill. It's kind of, I don't get involved with our message data. I just read it and make sure there's nothing. I make sure it's clean. I want to make sure people are treated with respect on the board and there's not arguing. Like, you can have a debate, but it's got to be civil.
Yeah.
But people are funny. I love them. I love our people. They're great. They're very predictable. They're funny. They're typical fans, but they're good fans. But they're angry. I get it. But yeah. So I think when we get back to what we're talking about here, they'll figure out the quarterback situation. It's not going to be easy. They've got a lot of warts. They don't have a back. They need depth at corner. They don't have two starting safeties. They're both not under contract. They have to get younger there. Hopefully, you'll finally get your wish. They're below average at linebacker. They need DNs, and they need at least two. They have a lot of needs. It's a miracle that they made the playoffs, folks. It was house money. I'm hoping they didn't take that attitude. I can't speak to that. I don't know. We don't work for the team, so we don't know internally how the player felt coming to the game, but they didn't show up. It was the only game this season where I felt they didn't compete. Sorry.
Well, it's certainly the only game since the first 7 weeks. I mean, I think you looked at the first 7 weeks and you can probably find similar games to this where they just
nothing like this, though. This is the worst coach game of the year.
Quit?
No, I didn't say they quit. This is the worst played game. No, I'm not saying they quit. They didn't compete high enough, okay? Coaching was abominable. This is the only time where I felt that coaching did not help them. Quarterback was bad. Receivers were bad. Offensive line was inconsistent, to say the least.
Mm-hmm.
Receivers didn't run good enough routes. Scheme was terrible offensively. Didn't scheme guys open. I could scream at the slot screens. Enough. Had it with that crap. I'm going to try not to curse.
Yeah, the only thing is not knowing whether that's the quarterback's decision or the coach's call, because I felt like that there, and we'll get into the offense. I felt
it's every game. Every game.
Even the announcers, though, were pointing out Devontae Smith's running wide open across the middle of the field.
I get that.
And the quarterback is making that predetermined, I'm throwing the tunnel.
Yes. Yes. Greg Cosell pointed it out. Avant backed it up. We backed it up by what we'd heard. He predetermined his throws. There's no question. I'm not going to deny that. It's an absolute fact that cannot be challenged. The tape shows it. That's all I need to say about it.
Yeah.
The Hurts backers are going to have to realize he's not a good enough passer. Okay, I'm being kind about it. It doesn't mean he can't improve. He made some improvement this season.
Yeah.
The coaches have to help him out.
There's an area we'll talk about when we get into offense, and we'll talk about how much it can improve, because there's a certain area of his game that was on display that really hurt. So we'll get into that as well. No pun intended on the really hurt. So it'll be a normal week. Monday, Wednesday, Friday pods. Of course, Q&A will be out Thursday morning.
I can't wait for. I am going to take off. Because I get up for tennis on Thursday early. I'm going to hear it 6 a.m. I'm going to hear it. I cannot wait. It's
going to be a good one, I'm sure.
It's going to be epic, I'm sure.
All right. Well, the Eagles didn't win, but we always tell you that you can win when you use our friends Deal Dash. It's the online shopping platform that's actually fun. It's fun because it's the longest running penny auction website and app around. That's right. Some of the things we talk about, they're just too good to be true. Car going for $900, a brand new TV for less than $2. I even can sell Adam Caplan for 50 cents on Deal Dash. It's amazing. Yeah, a whole day with Adam Caplan. Imagine that. 50 cents.
50 cents?
Right? All right, 65. Just like your age. So don't be a loser.
That's Coach Sell, by the way. That's about right, I think.
He looks it. Don't be a loser. Stop paying full retail price for things you want and get on Deal Dash. Go to DealDash.com, or you can download the app. And when you register, use the promo code ITB for a special offer for some bonus free bids. That's our friends at Deal Dash. So let's talk about the offense, and we'll get into Hurts right away. I mean, there are times when an interception is not on a quarterback, and there are times that it is clearly on a quarterback. And both of these ones really did not do. I mean, of course, no interception comes at a good time, but right before the half on the first one. And so that's an example, right, where he's kind of.
It's like that Giants one, right?
Yeah, right. It was. But here's the difference. Okay. The Giants one, he threw into coverage. This one, the cornerback defending Smith fell, and he just didn't see it all unfold in time.
Late.
And you can be late on that if you can zip it in there.
There's no juice.
He's not the
bad mechanics.
He can't throw on the run with a zip, right?
Yes, someone in scouting from another team who was doing advance, so the guy had to be there. He texted me from, I don't know if he's in the press box or not. He goes, dude. He goes. You may have seen it at home. He goes, he didn't square up on him. Thank you. I said the TV copy showed the same thing.
Yeah.
He goes, he didn't drive it off. He didn't rotate. I'm like, yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
He was really late on a lot of throws.
Yep.
We could all debate whether it was his worst NFL game. It's right up there, unfortunately. Yeah, it was tough. It was a tough watch. It was, I don't know what else. I mean, we don't even have we don't have access to the tape yet, but it was bad. He just, and here's the other problem. When he made good throws, either Watkins did not run the right route, they were not on the same page, or there were drops.
Right.
I mean,
right.
come on. Help him out.
No, it was just it went back to kind of being that disjointed offense that didn't know what it was or what it wanted to do. Now, I know people are killing Nick Sirianni for not running the ball enough, but they were down 17-0. It's not. Sorry, it's the playoffs. You got to kind of leave it all on the table.
Yeah.
They clearly were running Sanders in and out because of the broken hand, so that didn't help. They were running Boston Scott in and out, and Jordan Howard. Here's where you can question a little bit. The guy didn't get a single carry. Now, again, they weren't running that much. He's not a home run hitter. So when you're down 17 and 24-0, you're not really pleased to get the old 4-yard run from Jordan Howard. I get it. But I was very surprised that he had no carries whatsoever. We did see some of the zone read come back, which we thought it would, but the Bucs did a good job of it in the first time, and they play it. And Greg Cosell pointed this out. They're going to put an extra person on the line, and not only that, then they're going to take a stack linebacker, and then kind of shade that guy toward the run. And you saw the Eagles run left with it, with Hurts a couple times, get stuffed. Then they ran right a few times.
Loaded the box,
they lined
man.
it up the same way, but ran the opposite way, got a few. But then the Bucs eventually caught up to that as well. So
they dropped the safety a lot in the first half. I didn't watch as closely in the second half, but in the first quarter and a half, it seems like there was a safety always buzzing to help against the run. And they did what we thought they were going to. They're going to go outside zone.
Right.
I mean, we called it in the pregame. You have to. You can't run it inside. Now, I shouldn't say that. I'm wrong. You have to try to run it inside.
Right.
You can't just try to break everything outside. That was a mistake. You got to mix it up a little bit. I'm still a Sirianni fan. I'm disappointed in him in this game. I'm disappointed in their coaches. I'm a huge fan of all of them. But this is my one time I'm going to criticize them. I've kind of stayed off their backs where everyone was burying them in our market. But this is a very poorly coached game. I mean, I don't know what else. I mean, I could try to single guys out, but the fact of the matter is overall the head coach is responsible for it, and they were clearly ready. Let me ask you a question. Not ready. Let me ask you a question. I don't know if this is fair. I saw a lot of this, and I think it's worth talking about. And there's really no way to quantify it because you can't. There's no metric for it. But a lot of people think that they don't practice Wednesday because that's what they've been doing because it's a long season. Plus, they rested the players in weeks 18 starters against Dallas. Was that all a mistake? Or are they too soft? Is Sirianni too soft for the players? I figured I'd throw that at you. What's your
I mean, I feel like that's just, if I say yes to any of that, it's too easy to after a loss when you thought that all those things were helping them win games. So no, I don't think so. I do think you have to adjust. Yeah, the next year you may have to learn what you've learned from this year. You may say, this guy I've got to coach harder. This guy I've got to be easier on. This year on Wednesdays, we may need to, because our schedule isn't as lopsided as it was last year. All tough games and then all easy games, right? This year, maybe we have a tougher practice on Thursday later in the. I certainly think that there are things that Nick Sirianni should learn from what happened this year and take that into next year. I think that's natural. That's the evolution and maturation of a coach. But I'm not going to second guess on Sunday some of the practice habits leading up to the week, right? When those things really worked well and helped them turn their season around. So I think for the most part, he has a good idea of how the team should get prepared. I think this comes down to more about talent than preparation, in my opinion. You play this game 10 times. I think the Bucs are going to win 8 times on talent alone, right? I mean, is that? Oh yeah, for sure. Fair. Yeah,
for sure.
Yeah, like they could prepare differently. They're still going to lose.
Yeah, I mean, I just don't think they have enough talent and offense to compete at a high enough level. Mentally, the bad penalties, all the leaders didn't really play well in this game. It was a little. I'm a little bit. Even though I said I felt that they were going to. In fact, if you remember, once we found out about Sweat and Herbig, I changed my score from 23-14 to 27. I'd have 27-14. I think it was the
Yeah, you
final
did.
that I
It was
gave.
about that was. That
I
was
should have
right.
given him more. And I remember laughing when I did my TV hit for Sports Grid. I said my personal line was 9, and then I went above it at halftime. I said, I'm sorry, I should have said -30. Oh my goodness gracious! It was just disappointing. I feel bad for Eagle fans that traveled. Of a lot of friends who went. I think I know like 30 people went to the game. Seemingly all texted me at least 10 people texted me, pissed off, folks. Oh, and by the way, special hello to my friends from the play-by-play broadcasting camps. Some listeners, your friend Ron, who I met, was great. Ron was great. And then James and his dad, who listened, they were listening all the way to our speaking engagement. It was great, so I appreciate that. And I feel bad for the fans. Let me ask you this question also. Let me follow up with this.
Mm-hmm.
I know we're not fans here, but I'm just thinking, like, what would I want if I happen to be a fan? Would you rather get blown out like this? I know the game was 16, but they got handled. The game was a blowout. They got housed.
They got handled,
Would you rather it be a 3-point game and then maybe tricking the front office, hey, maybe they're close enough? I'm kind of glad they got smoked because I don't want anyone in their front office to think that this team's close, because they're not. They're not even close to being a good team.
It's a paradoxical question in nature, right? Because if it was a closer game, that meant that guys who we're saying played poorly probably played well. And if they played well, it might be a continuation of them playing well from the last 4 or 5 games. But I get your point that overall, this game should not. I even wrote that this game shouldn't obscure one way or another who the Eagles really are as it pertains to other teams that are in the playoffs. They are far behind from a talent level at really key areas, and they need to address that. Athleticism on the back end, youth, safety, linebacker, corners not named Darius Slay, the quarterback's vision, whether it's, Jalen Hurts or whoever, if it's somebody else, that guy's got to be able to see the field better than Jalen. So that's the difference. That's the second interception is an example where if you watch it, Jalen, it's a 4-man rush with a late safety blitz. It was picked up. He had good time, and he drifted instead of climbing the pocket where he had if he had climbed the pocket, took 2 steps up like Tom Brady does or Josh Allen or somebody else, he would have had to have noticed Jordan Howard leaks out over the middle and is wide open. But he drifts toward pressure instead, and then you saw he threw off the feet into Shaq Barrett's playing on one knee and somehow intercepted that.
He knows better.
That's the stuff that he knows he can't do. Right.
I'm sorry?
Right. Yeah, I was going to say that's the stuff that holds him back. I mean, he knows he can't do it, but we see him do it anyway,
He's coached better. It's just he developed bad habits in this game, which have to be broken. We knew that he's over 1.5 progression read. That's just what the tape shows.
Mm-hmm.
But this was, I don't want to, was it a setback? Okay. I mean, you want to call it a setback? Just a bad game. I mean, I don't know what else you could say. He's got a rebound. He's going to work hard. I do believe from what you and I have heard that he's coached pretty well.
Yeah.
But you do wonder about quarterbacks. Is this the best he can be? Is a guy that occasionally plays well, inconsistent, mechanics not very good, doesn't have a great arm, just above average. Good as a runner, not great. Good as a runner though. Sometimes dynamic. Sometimes the Denver game, he was really good as a passer. See that to me, why it gives you hope. But is he just a flash player? I don't know. I don't have all these answers, but this was not good.
I think at the end of the day, what you would like to see, if we could create a term for it, right? What you would like to see from Jalen Hurts next year is a little bit more of the wow plays that quarterbacks in this league are making with his arm. Meaning, like when you watch Joe Burrow, when you watch Josh Allen, when you watch Patrick Mahomes, when you watch Dak Prescott makes them. I know he lost, so he's not the best to bring up.
No, but he makes them.
When you watch a bunch of the young quarterback, I know they didn't make the playoffs, but Justin Herbert in that last game against the Raiders, right?
Yeah.
I mean, one wow play after another, throws that you're like, oh my God, you just salivate over them. I don't think we see enough of those on a consistent basis.
Correct. Very fair. Saw it in the Arizona game last year, which might have been his best game. The Denver game, you saw it, the pass obviously to Devontae Smith. I could see it right in front of me.
Yep.
But as you make such a great point, it's got to. You don't need to make 10 of those throws a game. Just make the throws that are there. And his field vision was really poor in this game. I don't need the coaching tape yet to know this. I mean, I saw it. You can see from the TV copy there was throws you got to make. But we'll get him more
Nick Sirianni even looking at him a few times when he came back to the sideline. Yeah.
When they're there, man, you got to hit them. And bad football is bad. The reason why I'm so miserable over this because bad football is so hard to talk about. I hate being so negative, but it's our job to tell you the truth. We're not here to sugarcoat anything. We're not fans. You know, we want. I'll be honest with you. I jokingly said on the show, man, I really want them to win because I wanted to be back at Rivers Casino on Sunday.
Yeah,
you know,
we really
doing our show.
Yeah.
Would have loved to have been back. Would have loved for them to win. It just would have been good for all of us. We all earn a little bit another paycheck. We're all together again. This is. I mean, I don't know folks. If you saw this pregame show and our pregame show, I don't know what else to say. I mean, we have a great production crew, Jimmy and Zach, and it's been such a great year. We haven't really talked much about it, but it's been wonderful, and we've learned so much from Jason and Greg. And it's just a shame they didn't put up a better show. I would have loved to have said, they lost by 3, but it was a great effort. So a lot of good things. I was hoping for that. And Gainwell, by the way, another thing before we get to defense, they got to get this guy the football. I mean, the guy's a playmaker. He's one of the few that they have. Figure it out a way. Come on.
Well, I mean, next year will be year 2 for him. He'll take a big jump, you imagine.
I hope.
In the offseason. Miles Sanders will probably be back for his last year. We'll see. I don't know. I think I agree with you in that he's probably not going to get an extension. He's got one more year left.
I can't imagine.
I don't know what's going to become of Jordan Howard. We don't know what's becoming of this offense.
He's up. His contract's up. Jordan Howard's up.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. As we sit here today, it's probably not going to be back, but maybe he is. It depends on what the offensive concept is. You would like to think.
It's a good point.
Would think that Nick Sirianni wants to evolve it a little bit if he feels like comfortable that it's going in the right direction. They've got to be able to show that they can, fall down in a game against a good team and throw 5 or 6 passes in a row to come back. Kind of like that Raiders-Chargers game that we watched in week 18. It was just guys bam, out there throwing dimes. Carr and Herbert. You got to be able to do that.
Best game of the year. Best game of the year.
Oh, it was a fantastic game. So you got to be able to do that.
Yep. And Goddard, he's just got to stop dropping footballs. Right in his beautiful 100%. Throw, right in his hand. How does this happen? He's got to stop trying to go. It's like the way it's explained to me is he thinks he's ready to make the big play instead of securing it. Dude, secure the football. You're big enough. They're going to bounce off of you. Yeah. Just secure the damn football.
Yeah. We've talked about this a lot. I would like to think, I don't know.
Devon, Jason called him out, thank God, a couple games ago.
I would like to think we've been, as critical of Dallas Goedert and his drops as anybody else we've been critical of. Because these things are easy. They're right into his hands. I mean, you got to make these plays. They're not 50-50 balls. They're in your hands. You're hurting the team when you don't catch those passes.
Not good.
Especially when if you're the number one, and right now he's the highest paid pass catcher on the team, then you are judged accordingly. Okay? Got to catch those balls. It doesn't matter that you caught 9 others, to be honest with you, because that was a 3rd down. That could have moved the chain. Every pass like that counts. So really hope that he focuses in on that in the offseason.
Yep, disappointing. And then just the scheme I thought was not good. They have to do a better job of scheming guys open. Yes, Hurts missed him. I get that. But they've not done a good enough job this season scheming guys open. Kyle Shanahan, I don't know if you saw the game on Sunday against Dallas. It's just ridiculous how wide open these guys get. And the use of formation variation and pre-snap motion. See, Sirianni, if I knew the guy, he and I would have a big argument over this. He just doesn't understand pre-snap motion, what it does. The indicator that it gives you.
Right.
I don't agree with this. I so don't agree with him. He's basically he's wrong. I'm telling you he's wrong.
Well, what he says is you do it just to get a tell, and I think that's not.
It's accurate. More than that. It's what you're trying. No, he gets. Yeah, is that part of it? Yes, but look at the space that they create.
Yeah,
it's unbelievable.
I mean, if you couple the concepts, if you marry the concepts of the motion with misdirection, which is what Shanahan does as well as anybody.
Yes.
You can do misdirection, but motion helps your misdirection because you're getting the eyes going one way and your play is going the other way. Right. So you can you can pull guards from left to right without motion and say that's sort of a misdirection play because your guards are going left to right, but everybody else going right to left. But if you had a receiver bringing that second level through jet motion, also looking in the opposite direction of the play, then you've accomplished something else. So I agree with you on that. I think
Co-
he's from the straight, like Frank Reich West Coast, or even Doug Peterson, who didn't do a lot of it last year. They're just from the straight kind of like, we line it up and we try to win formationally.
Guess what? They don't win. They don't win. That's the
That
problem.
is true. Their guys can't beat man coverage. I mean,
No,
we've
help
talked about
them.
that.
Jeez, it's just I'm no genius, but I just know you and I talk to so many people. No one seems to agree with that part with Sirianni. As much as I like him, I think he's a good coach, and hopefully he'll grow from this game. It's not one of his best games called. You got to help your players, man. You know, Deebo Samuel, as great as he is, well, you know what? He's a Kyle Shanahan creation.
I have a man crush on Deebo Samuel.
And he's awesome. But I remember I want to mention Carlos Hyde told me this. I ran into him, and I think he only played for the Niners maybe with Shanahan 1 year or something.
Uh-huh.
But he said he never had so much space to run that was created by Kyle's offense.
Mm-hmm.
He says it's just ridiculous. Even at Ohio State, as great as he was there, he said he loved it. You know, he wasn't there long, but it just Kyle's got to take a look at himself. I mean, not Kyle. Sirianni's got to take a look at himself and say, hey, how can I help our players, not just our quarterback?
Right.
How can I help these guys get more space to go through and make more plays? Because he needs to do a better job. And look, self-scouting the offseason, I'm sure he'll look at it.
Yeah. Especially beating man. Zone, they're good at figuring out the high-lows and the patterns to get guys open. But man, which is what a lot of teams play on third down, and they're trying to rush you, you got to figure out a way to get guys open. I'm trying to think if there's anything else from an offensive standpoint. The line, it is what it is. Obviously, Sua Opeta had to get in there at right guard over Nate Herbig. Lane Johnson came out. It's been a tough year for Lane, just for battling injuries. I mean, I know he made second team All-Pro, and deservedly so. He had a great year. But once again, he had to battle through injuries. And Jason Kelce, I guess we will sit and wait for a little bit and see if he makes a quick decision on whether or not he's coming back in 2020. Well, this year, but this fall.
Yeah, he had some penalties in the game. They were unfortunate. One, it was by the
that was a bad call. Yeah.
Okay, listen. Here's the problem, and I remember Dean Blandino would telling me, and Mike Pereira told me the same thing. You can't legislate intent. The one grab of the jersey was a grab. I understand in real time. The ref's got to see the ref. If you grab the jersey, even if it's not quite a pull, they're gonna call it if they see it. There's nothing you can do about it. There's nothing. I know it's ticky tack, but by the rule, it's a penalty.
Right.
You heard who did they go to? Was this did they go to Pereira? I forget. I don't remember
if they went to Pereira on that. No, yeah, they went to it.
I don't remember.
And Pereira disagreed with the officials. He said he didn't think it was a hold.
Right, but here's the thing. In real time, the ref has to make a call. He doesn't have it by replay. I wouldn't have called it. You wouldn't have called it. The fans would have called it.
Right.
Pereira wouldn't have called it. But the problem is you don't have the benefit of a replay. We can't challenge. I know Belichick wants to be able to challenge every penalty, and I like that, but that'll never happen.
No, that won't happen. You're right about legislating intent. If a defensive end is rushing a quarterback and he trips over his own feet, falls, and flattens the quarterback, even if he stopped and then tripped and did it, he's going to get penalized for a late hit.
Barnett penalty. The Derek Barnett personal foul, okay?
Yep. That
was not – I know people want to crush Derek Barnett. Hey, it's him again, dumb penalty. If you watch the replay, it's just kind of inadvertent.
Yeah.
But you got to call it by the – it's just a problem. Some of them were not on these guys, but overall they were sloppy. You know, we've emptied the bucket on offense. I can't wait to find out what the tape looks like.
Yeah, by the fourth quarter, Barnett was like, well, screw it. We're losing this game. I'm going to go pick a real fight with Tom Brady.
I was wondering, did he say, hey, dude, we beat you in 17. You know, I don't know. Maybe you're getting your revenge today, and then Brady might. I love when players look at the scoreboard and they go look at the scoreboard. You know, they point to it, you know?
Yep.
Anyway,
that's funny. If he had said that, that would be kind of funny. All right, download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now. Use promo code ITB and get 56-1 odds on any NFL team. Just bet $5 and win $280 in free bets if your team wins. That's promo code ITB for 56-1 odds at DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NFL. Must be 21 or over. Pennsylvania only. New customers only. Restrictions apply. In partnership with Meadows Racetrack and Casino. See DraftKings.com/sportsbook for details. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Let's talk defense now. Once Sweat was out, Adam, it was like we made the joke like, oh, who are your defensive ends going to be? Ryan Kerrigan and Barnett, and it turns out Kerrigan has more sacks and tackles in this game than he had all year long. It was nice, but it's like a little too little too late, you know.
What's that term? Putting lipstick on a pig or something?
Yeah, lipstick on a pig. Oh, and by the way,
Yeah.
I'm going to pat myself on the back a little bit.
All right, Pat.
Some people listening like a little bit. You do this all the time, Mosher. But
No, he doesn't.
On the podcast, the game preview podcast, if you remember, I said if I'm Bruce Arians and Brady, and I see that Sweat is either not playing or playing very limited, I'm gonna hurry up my offense and try to get these guys tired and keep them on the field.
Oh, dude, they played tempo the whole time.
They went clearly, and I think that was like trying to keep guys on the field who aren't really, used to playing the full stretch of the game without substituting. And then TJ Edwards goes out, and it gets even worse for the Eagles there. Yeah,
that crushed them, no doubt. No, it's a good call. They went tempo early. As we get to finish this off, we'll go to the defense. So they play tempo. Eagles are out of sorts. It's not like they didn't know that could happen because they do it a lot. It's not like Tampa doesn't do that, and they're out of shotgun a lot.
No, but they sped it up even more than just like
faster. It was actually
fast. Yeah,
it was just over 2 seconds. He got rid of it, and he was just and they were running up. They were going. He was sugar huddling or no huddle and just moving, and they got him. Dink and dunk. What do you call it? The 1,000 paper cuts, whatever they call it.
Death by 1,000 paper cuts, yes.
Right, they got it. You know this was coming. It's no surprise to anyone who watches Brady. Correct. I mean, it was brilliant. They had no answer for it. Gannon didn't have a good game. Now, it's funny. The new narrative was that they want the Eagles fans, some of them want Gannon to get a head coaching job. So I just laughed. They want him out already. Look, he didn't coach a very good game. I mean, he didn't. He I know they were limited without Sweat. There are a lot of guys that just don't fit what they do. This is not a very talented defense. We all know that. The defensive line, the pressure numbers by NFL statistics, by analytics is good, but they don't get a lot of sacks. They never blitz. 31st in blitz percentage. This showed up. They got that's why I thought they get blown out. I just didn't. I had a bad feeling coming to the game. Sometimes I'm wrong with this stuff, but I was so hoping that they would show up and play a competitive game. And like I said, I just don't like criticizing coaches, but this was not a well-coached game by anybody. They should not be proud of it. Players shouldn't be proud of it, but you know what? They're pretty good coaches, and they'll learn from it. Defensively, Go ahead.
I was going to say, from a defensive standpoint, it didn't appear to me, without the benefit of tape review, that Jonathan Gannon did anything all that different from the first time around. Like, he did not seemingly exploit a certain area. I mean, when you lose your center and your right tackle, and you want to get back in the game, you might want to consider dialing up a little bit more pressure. Maybe they did, and I didn't realize it, but it didn't look like it to me. I understand the front four rush. They did get 3 straight sacks and 3 possessions. So I can understand if Gannon felt like the defense was holding it down. And I do think the offense's turnovers put the defense in a bad position. But it didn't feel like there was anything tactical by Gannon to really try to exploit something or take advantage of something within the Tampa Bay offense. And I also feel like they didn't have a good answer for when Mike Evans lined up in the slot. They had to play Maddox against him, and Mike Evans is a bad matchup for Avonte Maddox, and he burned him more than 1 or 2 times in that game.
Smart. It was 7-inch. Maddox is 5'9", Evans is 6'4", and obviously he's 230-ish, that area, and he muscled him, and great job. They ran a slot fade. They got him. This great job by Brian Leftwich and Bruce Arians. Really, they had him scouted very well. Their pro people are really good, and boy, did it show. They just did a great day. They got predictable coverage. As someone who's very smart called me after the game, gave me some good stuff. He said, "I'm telling you, they got Philly because they got what they expected, and they exploited it." Now, they when it was 17-0, I don't want to say Tampa took the pedal off the metal. I don't want to call them coverage sacks, but Brady held on the ball. He's still trying to make a play, and they got him. And then they got him again. But I never felt the Eagles were in the game. I give it. Look, did the Eagles compete hard? Yeah, they absolutely did. They didn't quit, but they didn't compete at a high enough level. They just didn't have it mentally. Whether they didn't practice hard enough, again, it's too subjective. I don't know why. There's no way to know this. And anyone who says, "Oh, they didn't practice enough," yeah, as you said earlier, you have access to results, so that's what you're saying. Everybody wants an answer. I don't have an answer. I'm just telling you, they didn't compete at a high enough level. They played a poor game. It's, again, the first time where I've seen special teams, offense and defense, coaches and players, didn't happen for them.
Yeah, we'll get to special teams in a second. I was disappointed by the busted coverage on Gronk because you're in the playoffs now. All right, if a guy falls, that's one thing. I'd have to see the tape review to see what happens there. I don't know how Gronk got that wide open, but of all the people who you're going to leave wide open on a goal line play, you would think Gronk would not be the one. If maybe Cameron Brate were the one because they were paying so much attention to Gronk, I would understand. But I don't know what happened there. I'll look forward to seeing the tape, and maybe it's already been on you. Did you see anything that would make you understand how Gronk got wide open on that touchdown?
No.
Like nobody was within a yard or two.
I couldn't see. Can't tell from TV. But
right.
In the fourth quarter, the Bucs, they clearly they didn't check out. They just had no energy left. They're up 31-0. There's just it's so hard to. Now the Bills on Saturday night, I hate to say they rubbed it in on Belichick, but they didn't let up. I mean, they just wouldn't stop. If there was another quarter, they might have scored 60 in the game, But whereas this game, I think the Bucs lost their energy because they had it so easy, up 31-0, and the Eagles just were undermanned, and they just did. I think the roster warts, in addition to the guys who were not able to play, it all showed up on defense.
That is true. I mean, when you're an undermanned team the way the Eagles are, and you just don't have as much talent as the team on the other side, those warts are going to come to the surface more when the adversity hits, when you start to fall down, when you lose players to injuries like they did. The Bucs lost players to injury, like really key players, center, right tackle. That's big, okay? And then they took some lumps. Brady got sacked a few times, but they're so talented that they were able to withstand that any lumps that they have don't automatically come to the surface. The Eagles are not that team. They're not on that level. So the little things, including special teams that we'll get to in a second, bite them harder than if they were a really, really talented team. And that's really what happened there, both offensively and defensively. Before we move on to special teams, I want to tell people to make sure you're checking out our coverage, the coverage and our friends in general at PHLSportsNation.com. They are enhancing the fans' experience with their coverage of Philadelphia sports teams. For the fan, by the fan is their motto. So make sure you're checking them out at PHLSportsNation.com and on Twitter at PHLSportsNation. We'll pause real quick for a word from our great sponsors, including our friends at Sky Motor Cars. And if you happen to head into Sky Motor Cars out there in Westchester, PA, make sure you tell them Adam and Geoff sent you. You will get a great deal. Man, Adam, I don't think 5 or 6 weeks ago we would have been saying the Eagles really need to maybe look at their punting position, but they certainly do. And then obviously Jalen Reagor's struggles in that facet, returning, continued, and that kind of makes this an even more interesting offseason from on all three levels, not just offense or defense, but special teams as well.
Yeah, let me just say one thing about Reagor, because I know people are killing us over Reagor. Just understand something, okay?
They're killing us?
Understand. No, because we liked the pick when they made it. I'm not going to run away from it because Okay, a couple things here. First of all, Greg Cosell could back this up. Greg really liked him, okay? He goes by what the tape shows him, folks. He doesn't worry about what NFL people think. Mm-hmm. This is what the tape showed him. He thought he was explosive. He thought there were some good nuances to his game. He liked him a lot. He can't predict the way he's going to play at the next level. There's no way to do that. Yeah, we like the pick for what Reagor brought to the table. He looks nothing like that as an NFL player. You can't predict that.
Yeah,
hey, we'll take the L on it.
So some people are saying, are people insinuating that Reagor, that we're the only ones who are saying he's a first round talent?
No. But people are like, because we were so positive about the pick that they want to kill us over. Folks, we're just telling you what we knew and what we saw and what we'd heard. Now, Greg just goes by with the tape. Greg really liked Reagor. We all liked him. And the thing that bothers me, he's so special as a punt returner. Well, I just stay on Reagor for a second. We didn't even talk. That was my fault for not bringing up on offense. I don't understand. I know he's lost his confidence. There's something wrong.
Yeah.
But it was the punt returning, man. If you go and watch his tape, you can see it on YouTube. The tape he was unbelievable as a punt returner final year. I don't know what's happened.
I don't know. I brought it up before. Jeremy Maclin was I think he was an All-American punt returner along with wide receiver at Missouri. He was an explosive punt returner. He could not do it in the NFL. I don't know why. Jason Avant's talked about it. I don't know if it's just something about, you get it's a harder contact in the NFL. Sometimes at college level, you're just running through guys and you're barely ever touched. I don't know what it is. It could be like you are good at it, but once you lose your confidence, it's hard to get it back. I don't know. I mean, I think that's one of the things that the coaches probably scratch their heads about. He looks uncomfortable and out of sorts. And if you want to criticize the coaches for leaving him in there, that's fair game. I mean, I don't know.
The problem.
Here's the thing. People killed him for taking kicks out of the end zone and not getting to the 25. So they put Kenny Gainwell back there, and the last 3 of his 4 returns, he's done the same exact thing. Or if it wasn't Gainwell, it was Watkins or somebody else did it too. Everybody they put in kick return does the same damn thing.
It's bad. So, they've got a lot of work to do. Like Elliott's really good, but the punter supposed really struggled at the end of the season.
Boy.
It's at the very least, if they don't replace him, they're going to have someone to compete against him. And I'll say this: I have no problem with them not bringing someone in to compete against him. He was really good in the spring, good training camp for 3/4 of the season, solid. Like, wow, good discovery by this team. Mm-hmm. He really struggled at the end. Their return game's horrendous. If not the worst return game in the NFL, it's right up there. So their special teams coaches have a lot of work to do. They've got to get this thing righted. Mm-hmm. I don't know. Again, there are a lot of warts with this football team. I give these coaches credit to get them in the playoffs, and the players too. Obviously, they're all together here. They did better than we thought. Yes, they took advantage of an easy schedule. I know people now are telling them that the latest narrative is that, and I can't necessarily disagree with it. I don't say they lucked in, but people are saying, look, they took advantage of an easy schedule. They were never that good. Okay, I can't argue with it because they were terrible against Tampa Bay.
Yeah.
Nothing else to say.
They're a playoff team in name alone. Honestly, they're not in the same level.
Still a good accomplishment, folks. It's a cool. You know what? It's hard to make the playoffs.
Better than like anybody who thinks that I would have rather have lost like 15 games and gotten a higher draft pick.
Yeah,
you got the wrong priorities there. I mean, this was for the most part a fun season. It was a reward for fans who love running the ball and playing that smash mouth football. I don't know that you're going to see it the same way next year. Maybe you will. I just don't know. I tend to think you won't, but we'll see. And look, they've got the 15th, the 16th, and the 19th picks in the NFL draft. There's a lot of maneuverability there, a lot of assets, and they also will have good cap space this free agency, assuming they don't do anything like crazy drastic here with releasing guys that have big cap dead hits.
Well, the Fletcher Cox situation, which we talked the pregame show, is going to be interesting because if they trade him, it almost certainly would be with a post-June 1 designation to split the cap. There's a decent amount of dead money, so they would almost certainly use that.
Yep.
That would be a little bit of an issue. Not terrible. It's not going to blow up all their cap space, but
Brandon Brooks going to come with some dead money?
You know what? As you speak, keep talking.
All right, Brent. Well, so let's see who we may have to worry about you taking big cap hits real quick. Obviously, Fletcher. Brandon Brooks is another one. I don't think Lane Johnson's going anywhere. I mean, I think the team, loves him, supports him.
He's still great.
He's still good. But they do have a plethora of offensive linemen. That's why you just wonder.
Brandon Brooks.
Mm-hmm.
Brandon Brooks. Okay, so they have to make a decision. He's got it. Okay, obviously we love Brandon, but it would be shocking if he came back only because they already know who their starters are next year. If everybody's healthy. I can't imagine he'd be back, but just based on reality and logic. So his base salary is $13.4 million. $9 million of his base salary is guaranteed only for injury. Mm-hmm. That $9 million becomes fully guaranteed on the third day of free agency. So obviously they have till the third day of free agency to make a decision. They won't wait till that long. Teams never do that. It'll be done before that.
So this is Brandon Brooks?
Yeah. So, and his cap number is $19.439 million. So yeah,
is that just for next year?
Yes.
Oh my God!
Remember though, you know why? Because again, they restructured his contract in March of last year.
Oh man!
And as you know, when you restructure, you pump up the cap number, and that's where they're at now. I don't know of anything I don't believe. I'll double check. I don't think they did anything again to his contract. But
does he have? I'm sorry. Does he have guaranteed cap money in 2023? as
No,
well?
there's no fully guaranteed money. They could cut them. The
Okay.
only thing they get zapped with was dead money proration.
Right.
That and they could post June 1, but remember, you only have 2 post June 1 designations, I believe.
Right. That's why I was wondering how much proration they have. Would it make sense to post June 1st, or is it just very little once you get to
Well,
2023?
you brought up a great point, right? The guys that just again, we're not getting anyone cut yet. We're just
Yeah, just trying to
looking
figure
at
out cap. Yeah.
logic here.
Hmm.
Next year, the starters are Lane Johnson at right, Mailata's your left. It's either Dickerson or Kelsey
Hmm.
or
Same
Say Malo at center. Okay, if Jason retires, it's Dickerson or Say Malo at center. If and Isaac is at right guard, Dickerson's at center at left guard, Kelsey's at center. Kelsey comes back. If not, they just have an opening. They could do whatever they want to do, right?
Yeah,
They could.
I mean, yeah. The question is right guard, and that's
Jack
probably going
Driscoll.
to be Jack Driscoll, right?
Yeah, you're
I figured
yeah,
you were getting there.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Huh.
So they're
So
in good shape. I
interestingly,
mean,
well, that means interestingly they have a decision to make on Sayamalo as well, who has a really nice contract.
his
But has,
contract's great. He ain't going anywhere.
well, where are you playing him? If Kelsey comes back and Dickerson comes back, are
well,
you
then
playing
you
him over
might.
Driscoll?
Yeah, it's a good. Well, Driscoll, unfortunately, but Isaac's been hurt a lot. So has been Driscoll. Since he was drafted, he's had a couple
Yeah,
injuries.
yeah.
It's a great point. That's it. That's a good problem to have because Eagles have so much depth on their offensive line.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think Kelsey look, did he have his best game of the year against Tampa? No. There were some plays where he got muscled. You saw the one play, it's only one play, but you saw Troy Aikman did a good job of showing him getting taken by Vita Vea, just throw him.
Yeah.
But the guy's still an elite player. It's amazing. So look, we'll get into that.
Do you see the play where Bulls blitzed both of his safeties and then dropped Vea and Ndamukong Suh into coverage?
Vea, yes, I saw that when he dropped. Yeah.
That was phenomenal. I love that stuff, man. I think it's great when you have the athletes to be able to execute that.
Mm-hmm.
That's on a different level. That's Todd Bowles for you right there.
Yeah, that's next. So okay, here are the guys they have to make decisions on. Cox, whether they're going to trade him or not, which he didn't even get on the stat sheet. We'll find out what the tape looked like. Cox is one on defense. Brandon Brooks is an obvious one. That's pretty much. I mean, anyone else come to mind before we get out of here?
No, Slay's probably. I mean, I can't imagine
No,
Slay
he's
not
coming
coming back
back.
after
No,
this year. They'll have the decision to make on Steven Nelson on his 1-year deal. The two safeties are.
I'm just talking about guys who are under contract.
No, I know cap casual. No, I
can't
think of any as we speak. So
yeah. So then they'll have decisions. We'll do our free agent shows like nobody else does, folks. We'll get into every single position, what we're hearing, whether they want to bring them back or not.
Right.
Kind of what the contract may look like. Here are the decisions before we get out of here. Here are the guys they have to make decisions on. The contracts are up. Barnett, his contract's up. Steven Nelson, as you mentioned. Harris, McLeod. Come on. Let me see who else here.
Harris, that should probably be it of the major ones. I mean, the safeties you mentioned, the linebackers. Is Singleton up? Is he a restricted free agent?
He'll be restricted. Yep, he's up technically. Yep, whether they tender him or not, they would only do the low tender, so we'll have to see.
Right.
If he gets tendered.
Minshew has another year, so you're good with him.
Yep. Yeah. Marcus Epps will be restricted, I believe. Yeah.
Yeah. Either that or maybe one of those exclusive rights free agents, because I forget how.
I will tell you right now, he will be. No, he has a year left. He's signed through 22. The Eagles claimed his contract.
Oh, okay.
He's
cool.
Signed. Yeah.
Cool. Ryan Kerrigan's up.
He's up. He won't. I can't imagine he'd be back.
No. He may have played himself into a nice 1-year deal next year by having 2 sacks, though.
That was good. Yeah. Unfortunately,
honestly, he had a really nice bull rush on the backup tackle there. I mean,
he did. That was a nice. He got on that guy quickly. At least he showed he could still play a little bit. Yeah. It's a tough scheme for him. I don't know if they used him the right way, but it's pretty much it, folks. I mean, we'll talk about a lot of this going forward, but my one off-season wish is that they just get more Get an S.
Progressive.
S.
I'm not even going to go position. I'm just going to say more progressive, more athletic, more diversified in the back end of their defense. Get some athletes in there, man. Not to disparage anybody who plays from now, but you know what I mean. Like some playmakers, guys that can run, some hybrid guys.
Jeremy Chin would have been the guy.
For it.
He would have. It wasn't for Hurts. We said it the day after the draft. The first nugget we got was going to be Chin.
Yeah. Well, who knows if they had Jeremy Chin, and who knows who would have been their quarterback this year and what they would have done. That I can't predict. But
no. But
I would say that he would have been a good fit, though. He's a good player.
He does everything. He plays linebacker. He plays deep safety. Does everything. So
yeah.
Oh well.
All right. We'll have so much to talk about in the off season, and we're not really going anywhere. We'll be on the 3 pods a week for at least the next week, if not further throughout the playoffs. So we'll let you know. We'll have you updated as soon as possible on that. That's going to do it for this episode of Inside the Birds, the leading podcast in Eagles Intel. Big thanks to our producer, Hunter Brody. Check out his work on YouTube. His channel is called Sports Talk with Broads. His media website is called broadsmedia.com. And as always, we thank you for flying with us inside the bird.